Welcome to week 3 of The Artist's Way, Recovering a Sense of Power. This week may find you dealing with unaccustomed bursts of energy and sharp peaks of anger, joy, and grief. You are coming into your power as the illusory hold of your previously accepted limits are shaken. You will be asked to consciously experiment with spiritual open-mindedness. Anger. Anger is fuel. We feel it and we want to do something. Hit someone, break something, throw a fit, smash a fist into the wall, tell those bastards. But we are nice people. And what we do with our anger is stuff it, deny it, bury it, block it, hide it, lie about it, medicate it, muffle it, ignore it. We do everything but listen to it. Anger is meant to be listened to. Anger is a voice, a shout, a plea, a demand. Anger is meant to be respected. Why? Because anger is a map. Anger shows us what our boundaries are. Anger shows us where we want to go. It lets us see where we've been and lets us know when we haven't liked it. Anger points the way, not the finger. In the recovery of a blocked artist, anger is a sign of health. Anger is meant to be acted upon. It is not meant to be acted out. Anger points the direction. We are meant to use anger as fuel to take the actions we need to move where our anger points us. With little thought, we can usually translate the message that our anger is sending to us. Blast him! I could make a better film than that. This anger says, you want to make movies. You need to learn how. I can't believe it. I had this idea for a play 3 years ago, and she's gone and written it. This anger says, stop procrastinating. Ideas don't get opening nights. Finished plays do. Start writing. And of course, she goes on to lots of different examples. I'm not going to read the entire thing, and I recommend that you read all of week 3. I'm just going to read some of my highlights. Anger is a firestorm that signals the death of our old life. Anger is the fuel that propels us into our new one. Anger is a tool, not a master. Anger is meant to be tapped into and drawn upon. Used properly, anger is useful. Sloth, apathy, and despair are the enemy. Anger is not. Anger is our friend. Not a nice friend, not a gentle friend, but a very, very loyal friend. It will always tell you when we have been betrayed. It will always tell us when we have betrayed ourselves. It will always tell us that it is time to act in our own best interests. Anger is not the action itself. It is action's invitation. Synchronicity. Answered prayers are scary. They imply responsibility. You asked for it. Now that you've got it, what are you going to do? Why else the cautionary phrase, watch out what you pray for, you might get it. Answered prayers deliver us back to our own hand. This is not comfortable. We find it easier to accept them as examples of synchronicity. I think we all know a little bit about what it means to have synchronicity in our life, and she, of course, goes into it at length about different examples of what synchronicity is. The next section is shame. Some of you are thinking, if it were that easy to take an action, I wouldn't be reading this book. Those of us who get bogged down by fear before action are usually being sabotaged by an older enemy, shame. Shame is a controlling device. Shaming someone is an attempt to prevent that person from behaving in a way that embarrasses us. Making a piece of art may feel a lot like telling a family secret. Secret telling, by its very nature, involves shame and fear. It asks the question, what will they think of me once they know this? That is a frightening question, particularly if we have ever been made to feel ashamed for our curiosities and explorations. be they social, sexual, or spiritual. How dare you? Angry adults often rage at an innocent child who has stumbled into a family secret. The act of making art exposes a society to itself. Art brings things to light. It illuminates us. It sheds light on our lingering darkness. It casts a beam into the heart of our own darkness and says, "See?" When people do not want to see something, they get mad at the one who shows them. They kill the messenger. A child from an alcoholic home gets into trouble scholastically or sexually. The family is flagged as being troubled. The child is made to feel shame for bringing shame to the family. But did the child bring shame? No. The child brought shameful things to light. The family shame predated and caused the child's distress. What will the neighbors think? Is a shaming device aimed at continuing a conspiracy of illness. Art opens the closets, airs out all cellars and attics. It brings healing. But before a wound can heal, it must be seen. And this act of exposing the wound to air and light, the artist's act, is often reacted to with shaming. Bad reviews are a prime source of shame for many artists. The truth is, many reviews do aim at creating shame in an artist. Shame on you. How dare you make that rotten piece of art? For the artist who endured childhood shaming over any form of neediness, any type of exploration, any expectation, shame may kick in even without the aid of a shame-provoking review. If a child has ever been made to feel foolish for believing himself or herself talented, the act of actually finishing a piece of art will be fraught with internal shaming. Many artists begin a piece of work, get well along into it, and then find, as they near completion, that the work seems mysteriously drained of merit. It's no longer worth the trouble. To therapists, this surge of sudden disinterest, it doesn't matter, is a routine coping device, employed to deny pain and ward off vulnerability. Adults who grew into dysfunctional homes, who grew up in dysfunctional homes, learn to use this coping device very well. They call it detachment, but it is actually a numbing out. He forgot my birthday. Oh well, no big deal. A lifetime of this kind of experience, in which needs for recognition are routinely dishonored, teaches a young child that putting anything out for attention is a dangerous act. And as I said, she goes through lots of different examples, but I also want to highlight this section that gives us an example between good and bad criticism. Let me be clear, not all criticism is shaming. In fact, even the most severe criticism, when it fairly hits the mark, is apt to be greeted by an internal aha, if it shows the artist a new and valid path for work. The criticism that damages is that which disparages, dismisses, ridicules, or condemns. It is frequently vicious but vague and difficult to refute. This is the criticism that damages. Does this mean no criticism? No. It means learning where and when to seek out right criticism. As artists, we must learn when criticism is appropriate and from whom. Not only the source, but the timing is very important here. A first draft is seldom appropriately shown to any but the most gentle and discerning eye. It often takes another artist to see the embryonic work that is trying to sprout. The inexperienced or harsh critical eye, instead of nurturing the shoot of art into being, may shoot it down instead. As artists, we cannot control all the criticism we will receive. We cannot make our professional critics more healthy or more loving or more constructive than they are, but we can learn to comfort our artist child over unfair criticism. We can learn to find friends with whom we can safely vent our pain. We can learn not to deny and stuff our feelings when we have been artistically savaged. Art requires a safe hatchery. Ideally, artists find this first in their family, then in their school, and finally in a community of friends and supporters. This ideal is seldom a reality. As artists, we must learn to create our own safe environments. We must learn to protect our artist child from shame. We do this by diffusing our childhood shamings, getting them on the page, and sharing them with a trusted, non-shaming other. By telling our shame secrets around our art and telling them through our art, we release ourselves and others from darkness. This release is not always welcomed. We must learn that when our art reveals a secret of the human soul, those watching it may try to shame us for making it. Dealing with criticism. It is important to be able to sort useful criticism from the other kind. Often, we need to do the sorting out for ourselves, without the benefit of a public vindication. As artists, we are far more able to do this sorting than people might suspect. Pointed criticism, if accurate, often gives the artist an inner sense of relief. Aha, so that's what was wrong with it. Useful criticism ultimately leaves us with one more puzzle piece for our work. Useless criticism, on the other hand, leaves us with a feeling of being bludgeoned. As a rule, it is withering and shaming in tone, ambiguous in content, personal, inaccurate, or blanket in its condemnations. There is nothing to be gleaned from irresponsible criticism. You are dealing with an inner child. Artistic child abuse creates rebellion, creates block. All that can be done with abusive criticism is to heal from it. There are certain rules of the road useful in dealing with any form of criticism. 1. Receive the criticism all the way through and get it over with. 2. Jot down notes to yourself on what concepts or phrases bother you. 3. Jot down notes on what concepts or phrases seem useful. Do something very nurturing for yourself. Read an old good review or recall a compliment. 5. Remember that even if you have made a truly rotten piece of art, it may be a necessary stepping stone to your next work. Art matures spasmodically and requires ugly duckling growth stages. 6. Look at the criticism again. Does it remind you of any criticism from your past, particularly shaming childhood criticism? Acknowledge to yourself that the current criticism is triggering grief over a long-standing wound. 7. Write a letter to the critic, not to be mailed, most probably. Defend your work and acknowledge what was helpful, if anything, in the criticism offered. 8. Get back on the horse. Make an immediate commitment to do something creative. 9. Do it. Creativity is the only cure for criticism. Detective work and exercise. You'll find this exercise on page 73. I've created a worksheet for this one, which puts all of the questions on one page for you. Many blocked people are actually very powerful and creative personalities who have been made to feel guilty about their own strengths and gifts. Without being acknowledged, they are often used as batteries by their families and friends who feel free to both use their creative energies and disparage them. When these blocked artists strive to break free of their dysfunctional systems, they are often urged to be sensible when such advice is not appropriate for them. Made to feel guilty for their talents, they often hide their own light under a bushel for fear of hurting others. Instead, they hurt themselves. A little sleuth work is in order to restore the person we have abandoned, ourselves. When you complete the following phrases, you may feel strong emotion as you retrieve memories and misplaced fragments of yourself. Allow yourself to free associate for a sentence or so with each phrase. I will let you read those for yourself, but I will note it is highly recommended that you just simply power through. So that is why I made it into a worksheet for you. That way you don't spend time writing down the beginning of the phrase and lose momentum. So just put down whatever comes to your mind, the very first thing that comes to mind, and just keep going until you've filled out all 20 of the questions. The next section is growth. Growth is an erratic movement forward. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Remember that and be very gentle with yourself. A creative recovery is a healing process. You are capable of great things on Tuesday, but on Wednesday you may slide backward. This is normal. Growth occurs in spurts. You will lie dormant sometimes. Do not be discouraged. Think of it as resting. And example. Practice being kind to yourself in small, concrete ways. Look at your refrigerator. Are you feeding yourself nicely? Do you have socks? An extra set of sheets? What about a new houseplant? A thermos for the long drive to work? Allow yourself to pitch out some of your old, ragged clothes. You don't have to keep everything. That expression, God helps those who help themselves, may take on a new and very different meaning. Where in the past it translated, God helps only those who earn help, it will now come to signify the amazing number of small free gifts the Creator showers on those who are helping themselves to a little bounty. If you do one nice thing a day for yourself, God will do 2 more. Be alert for support and encouragement from unexpected quarters. Be open to receiving gifts from odd channels, free tickets, a free trip, an offer to buy you dinner, a new-to-you old couch. Practice saying yes to such help. The scientifically inclined among you might want to make a good, thorough list of clothes you wish you had. Very often, the items on the list will come into your possession at disconcerting speed. Just try it. Experiment. More than anything else, experiment with solitude. You will need to make a commitment to quiet time. Try to acquire the habit of checking in with yourself several times a day just to take a beat and ask yourself how you are feeling. Listen to your answer. Respond kindly. If you are doing something very hard, promise yourself a break and treat afterward. Yes, I am asking you to baby yourself. We believe that to be artists we must be tough, cynical, and intellectually chilly. Leave that to the critics. As a creative being, you will be more productive when coaxed than when bullied. Tasks. Describe your childhood room. If you wish, you may sketch this room. What was your favorite thing about it? What's your favorite thing about your room right now? Nothing? Well, get something you like in there, maybe something from that old childhood room. 2. Describe 5 traits you like in yourself as a child. 3. List 5 childhood accomplishments. Straight A's in 7th grade, trained the dog, punched out the class bully, short-sheeted the priest's bed, and a treat. List 5 favorite childhood foods. Buy yourself one of them this week. Yes, Jell-O with bananas is okay. 4. Habits. Take a look at your habits. Many of them may interfere with your self-nurturing and cause shame. Some of the oddest things are self-destructive. Do you have a habit of watching TV you don't like? Do you have a habit of hanging out with a really boring friend and just killing time? There's an expression. Some rotten habits are obvious, overt. Drinking too much, smoking, eating instead of writing. List 3 obvious rotten habits. What's the payoff in continuing them? Some rotten habits are more subtle. No time to exercise, little time to pray, always helping others, not getting any self-nurturing, hanging out with people who belittle your dreams. List 3 of your subtle foes. What use do these forms of sabotage have? Be specific. 5. Make a list of friends who nurture you. That's nurture. Give you a sense of your own competency and possibility. Not enable. Give you the message that you will never get it straight without their help. There's a big difference between being helped and being treated as though we are helpless. List 3 nurturing friends. Which of their traits particularly serve you well? 6. Call a friend who treats you like you are really good and a bright person who can accomplish things. Part of your recovery is reaching out for support. This support will be critical as you undertake new risks. 7. Inner compass. Each of us has an inner compass. This is an instinct that points us toward health. It warns us when we are on dangerous ground, and it tells us when something is safe and good for us. Warning pages are one way to contact it. So are some other artist brain activities: painting, driving, walking, scrubbing, running. This week, take an hour to follow your inner compass by doing an artist brain activity and listen to what insights bubble up. 8. List 5 people you admire. Now list 5 people you secretly admire. What traits do these people have that you can cultivate further in yourself? 9. List 5 people you wish you had met who are dead. Now list 5 people who are dead whom you'd like to hang out with for a while in eternity. What traits do you find in these people that you can look for in your friends? 10. Compare the 2 sets of lists. Take a look at what you really like and really admire, and a look at what you think you should like and admire. Your shoulds might tell you to admire Edison, while your heart belongs to Houdini. Go with the Houdini side of you for a while. And if you haven't done a check-in, I recommend that you join my Facebook group so that you can check in on Mondays to find out from the rest of the group how many pages you guys all did on your morning pages, and how was the experience, and did you do your artist date? And sometimes there's some extra questions to that check-in. So last week, if you did week 2, you would have also, let's see here, been looking at, well, they just stuck to the 3 basics, probably because we were just really beginning with our morning pages. So really, are there any other significant issues this week that you consider significant for your recovery?